If you handle your hearing loss the way I did, you might not notice the damage for years. You'll still have a job. You'll still attend family gatherings. You'll still look functional. That's the danger. I built a career, spoke in front of audiences, worked in research environments, and all the while I was exhausting myself just to appear normal. The ceiling didn't drop suddenly. It lowered slowly. And by the time I realized what was happening, I had already limited my own growth. Maybe you know this feeling. You are in a small meeting, 5 people around the table. The conversation moves quickly. Someone makes a joke. Everyone laughs. You smile too, even though you only caught half of it. You focus harder. You lean in. By the end, you are drained. Not because the meeting was complex, but because you are on high alert the entire time. There are symptoms we rarely name. The constant mental tension, the background anxiety before social events, the subtle withdrawal from conversations you used to enjoy. And this is where most people get stuck. Because the natural reaction is to try harder, concentrate more, adapt more, prove you can handle it. That's exactly what I did. I thought my strength was my ability to adapt. I never wanted special treatment. I never wanted to be the difficult one. So I didn't ask people to repeat themselves. I didn't request adjustments. I didn't consult specialists in adaptation. I just pushed. What I didn't understand was the invisible mechanism underneath all of that. When you constantly adapt silently, you teach everyone around you that no adaptation is needed. You normalize your own struggle. And over time, that creates something dangerous. Not a dramatic collapse, not a big failure, something quieter. You start lowering your ambitions without admitting it. You avoid leadership roles because they require too many calls. You skip networking events because they're exhausting. You speak less in group settings because it's safer. You still function, but you function smaller. There's also an identity shift that happens. You begin to feel slightly less like yourself, less spontaneous, less confident, less present. You might not say it out loud, but inside there's a whisper. Maybe I'm just not as capable as I used to be. That whisper is powerful. And if this resonates with you, I'd really like to know. Let me know in the comments. Sometimes just naming it changes something. The hardest part for me wasn't losing sound. It was realizing I had built my own glass ceiling. I once walked out of a small meeting completely exhausted, and it hit me. I wasn't tired from thinking. I was tired from hiding. That was uncomfortable to admit, because I had built an identity around resilience, around independence, around proving that I could handle anything. But my independence was slowly limiting my future. The more I refused accommodations, the more I trapped myself in environments that drained me. The more I tried to look strong, the less strategic I became. Trying harder increased the fatigue. It increased the stress. It increased the emotional cost. And it slowly led to withdrawal. Not dramatic isolation, just subtle reduction. Fewer risks, fewer interactions, fewer opportunities. The turning point wasn't medical. It wasn't technological. It was psychological and relational. I had to accept that hearing loss doesn't primarily destroy careers or families. Poor adaptation does. The real shift came when I stopped asking, how can I endure this? And started asking, how can I redesign this interaction? That's a very different question. Here's one small thing you can try within the next 24 hours. At the beginning of your next group interaction, say one simple sentence. Just so you know, I hear better when one person speaks at a time. That's it. You're not apologizing. You're not over explaining. You're setting a condition. It sounds small, but that one sentence can save you hours of energy. It also changes the dynamic. It tells people what works instead of forcing them to guess. When I stopped hiding, I stopped shrinking. And that's the shift I want you to see clearly. The four behaviors that feel protective: pretending you understood, minimizing the difficulty, refusing help, over adapting. They don't protect your future, they quietly restrict it. You are not weak because you feel exhausted. You're not less capable because you avoid certain environments. You've probably just been using the wrong strategy. The goal is not to try harder, it's to adapt consciously. That's what this channel is about. Not just hearing better, living better with the hearing you have. If this spoke to you, stay with me. Watch the next video. Let's start replacing survival with strategy.